My grandmother-in-law's funeral happened to take place on the same day as my daughter's dance recital, but I already committed to my girl before getting invited, and now my dad is furious that I didn't attend. My daughter, 5F, had a dance recital on Saturday. Her dance studio scheduled everything a couple months ago, so my husband and I were prepared to attend. Last Wednesday my father informed me his mother-in-law, his wife's mother, had passed away and the funeral would be on Saturday. He said that he and his wife wanted me to attend it with my family but would settle for just me. I'll be honest, I didn't want to go. I didn't have a close relationship with my father's mother-in-law and my kids saw her once a year at most, but I wouldn't mind attending if it weren't for my daughter's recital. The funeral would take place in a different city, a very short flight away, which my father had offered to cover, so it wouldn't be possible to attend both. I offered my condolences, but said my daughter had a dance recital on Saturday and my family wouldn't be able to attend the funeral. My father said he understood why I couldn't take my children, though his wife was disappointed I wouldn't just tell my daughter's dance studio that there had been a family emergency. In spite of that, they both thought I should still go on my own. They said that my husband could attend the recital on his own, that missing one of my daughter's events when I'm there for everything else wouldn't be a big deal, and that she's so young that she probably won't remember in the future, but the funeral would only happen once. I stood my ground. Saturday came. I attended my daughter's dance recital. Both my father and his wife were radio silent all day, and I chose not to bother them. My father finally called me yesterday, and we had an argument. He said his wife was inconsolable because her mother loved me and my children, and it broke her heart that we weren't there to say our goodbyes. He also said he was disappointed at how dismissive I'd been of his wife and her family, and he couldn't believe I'd refused to make such a small sacrifice for someone who would drop everything to do the same for me. Hey everyone, this got long so I'll go ahead and post it here. There are some things I want to address before I move on to the update. I want to thank you all for your comments and insight on my original post. Even if you decided I was in the wrong, I assure you I posted because I truly wanted alternate opinions, so I'm grateful for your feedback. There were, however, two things some people said that I still firmly disagree with. First, the claim that my father was asking me for support and I let him down, based on his past behavior. He didn't need or want my support. He wanted me to support his wife. He wasn't fond of his mother-in-law, and both my father and his wife have a long history of wanting me and her to be closer than we are. I am perfectly fine with our current relationship and have no interest in bonding with her any further for a number of reasons. I'll take the opportunity to state that my father and his wife have been married for 6 years and together for only a little longer. I was already an adult when I met her, and we have never been close. I consider her extended family, at best, and I didn't consider her mother family. That is the main reason this didn't constitute a family emergency to me. I literally met my husband before I met her mother. I have told my father I don't really think of them as family several times. That leads me to the idea I could have used this as an opportunity to teach my daughter that sometimes plans have to change, and it's important to show up for family. It was the other claim I disagreed with. I agree it's important to teach kids that things don't always go according to plan, and realistically, I know I won't always be able to show up for my daughter. I have a career, another child, and other commitments that might need to take priority sometimes. This was not one of those times. I wasn't close with my father's mother-in-law, and I was absolutely capable of being there for my daughter. On to the actual update. I contemplated the situation for a few days and managed to come to a few conclusions. I also ended up talking to a few people in my life. My husband was still very firmly on my side. My mother said I could have been more sensible, but also that she'd probably have done the same thing I did. Then I talked to my younger sister, and it was during that conversation that I found out that not only had she not been pressured to attend the funeral, she hadn't even been invited in the first place. She had spoken with our father several times since his mother-in-law died, but he hadn't told her about anything besides the fact she'd passed. I was the only one he'd expected to attend. Why does my father feel the need to keep pushing his wife and her family onto me and mine? So in the end, my main conclusion was that this wasn't just about the funeral. My father has always had unfair and unrealistic expectations of me, and I need to make it stop. I've decided to distance myself from my father and his wife for a while. I love him, but I need time and he needs to accept I have my own life. As for what will happen between me and my father, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, whenever he's ready to have an honest conversation about everything that happened.